All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Stretch It Out podcast. Nick Stretch here with Audrey doing her woo woo, and we are super excited about this podcast. Why are we so excited about this podcast, Audrey?
Drum roll. Give me a drum roll.
Gosh, my fingers. Here we go.
We have a guest speaker.
Boom. First guest, and we're only at episode 3. 3 episodes in, and we've already convinced somebody to come on to our podcast. That's how good we are.
And we didn't have to pay him.
Yet. He didn't.
Better. Yeah.
No
royalties yet.
He hasn't hit us with a bill. So check this out. We're gonna title this thing after we go through talk about what we want to talk about. And I want it to before we introduce our guest, I got to share a little bit about him, because if you didn't listen to episode 2, you know nothing, right? At this point about our guest. However, this guy, for me, I've listened to this guy talk a lot over the past year, because he hosts one of my favorite podcasts, the No Name RC podcast. I listen to it probably too much. And I've always just really gotten a real sense of joy just listening to this guy host that podcast. Just not because just he's talking about RC and we've already talked about how much I love all that, but just because he's got a really big heart. He's genuinely just a good person. I think that he's doing more than his part in terms of just bringing joy to the world. And, we had started talking a little bit, and I shared with him this podcast, like I mentioned to you guys on episode 2, and we started talking about him maybe coming on and talking about some of the stuff we're talking about here, stuff that's not directly related to RC. And like I said,
Thank God. Yeah. I don't know anything about RC, guys. Sorry.
But the guy's super cool, and he was like, you know what? No problem. I mean, here we are, like, I don't know what time it is, 6:30 here. And, he's been on with us, chatting with us a little bit before all this, and we're just super excited to have him on. So without further ado, Keenan White, welcome to the Stretch It Out podcast. Thanks so much for jumping on, man. How are you?
What's up, man? How are you? How you doing, Nick? How you doing, Audrey?
Fantastic.
Living the dream.
It sounds like it. That's great.
I didn't tell you where Keenan. Do you know where Nick is at?
No, I don't. Where is he?
Where are you this week, Nick?
This week I am in Shreveport, Louisiana for work.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But he lives in Texas.
There's a track there around there somewhere, maybe.
There is. Yeah, there is.
See, brain goes right to RC. It's track there somewhere.
That didn't take long.
No, not at all. But yeah, cool. And Texas, the actual name of my podcast was found in Texas, I believe.
Was it really?
Yeah, we was there visiting David, because David lives in Texas. And we was like, we was out drinking, and I was like, what should we call this podcast? He wanted to call it No Flip Flops Allowed. And I was like, we was a little bit drunk. He's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Not like I was all right, but they were feeling nice. And I was like, I don't like that name. And the reason they wanted to do, because you have to wear appropriate footwear on the track when you go to turn marshal. And I was like, man, I like it, but nah, it doesn't sound good enough. And then I couldn't think of a name. I said, we're just gonna call it No Name RC Podcast. And that was it. It stuck.
And it is super catchy. And you guys, Keenan and JQ and all the guests that you've had on and stuff, you guys have really, I know maybe it doesn't feel like that for you guys at this point, but you really have created a brand behind the name. So kudos to you guys on that.
I appreciate that, man. We couldn't do it without the people that actually download this podcast and listen to them like you. And when people tell me, hey, I really enjoyed that podcast, and that person had a point, and I didn't know that this was happening, or somebody learned something from the podcast, I'm happy, because that's what it was all about. Like, this is the stuff I wanted to know when I was just like not in the industry. Like, and then I actually got working in the industry with Joseph, and he just seems to have a knack for finding out everything. And people just tell him stuff, and they tell me stuff, and then he isn't scared to say how it is. I hold back a lot. Like I can't be as savage as him. because I actually have like feelings for people. And, but when I want to get savage, I can get savage, but I just try not to because I get passionate about things, you know. And it's mostly about RC. But yeah, it's been good, and I hope. Yeah, it's just been a ride. I was on a ride, 62 episodes in, and it's been a ride, and it's still going, and it seems to keep getting better. And I thought I was getting burnt out for a little bit, in which I was, but then I get pulled right back in. And like your podcast helped that. Like I was telling you, I listened to your podcast last week, and it helped me readjust a little bit, like find out what I was doing wrong, and I did. And then I really appreciated what you said, and I was like, wow. And I shared that. I played that to Joseph, and I was like, man, I think we're doing like I was like I don't think this podcast is gonna do what I wanted to do. And then I was like, I think we're doing what we're doing. And it's like, I told you so. People
That's
listen.
awesome.
And I'm like, shut up. Get on my
But
nerve.
that's awesome. You needed some corrective perspective, and then what's cool is you got some of that from our podcast, which is
I did.
which is incredible.
That whole taking Monday back, but I don't really feel Mondays too much. But I found I was just waking up too late. I get restless at night, and I can't sleep some nights. So I was taking like a Benadryl to go sleep. Like I was like, it was like a generic Benadryl. And I was like, oh, I didn't feel right anymore. And I was like, I feel sluggish. That's why I was sleeping to 9:30, 10. I was like, mm-mm. So I just stopped taking that and just force myself to go sleep. And if I get 5-6 hours of sleep, that's all I need. And I go. So it's been a week and a half. Well, after that podcast, I made that adjustment, and I feel good. I'm getting old. I'm definitely out of shape. I need to do something about that. Yeah, waking up earlier. I like to. I'll have my alarm set for 6 tomorrow. I'll get up at 6 so I can go out and feed my pigeons early and stuff like that. Have my coffee. So it definitely worked for me. I appreciate that.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for that, man. It means a lot coming from you. So, but we wanted to talk about Keenan, and we wanted to learn a little bit more about Keenan. And where are you at, Keenan? Where do you live right now?
I live on the north coast of the Dominican Republic.
On the beach?
I'm not too far from the beach. We went to the beach yesterday.
So I'll be planning my summer trip to you, Keenan.
You should. I think everybody should come down here, especially up here in the north coast. It's touristy, but it's very expat. It's I'm not too far from a little beach town called Cabarete. And this town is known for wind, and it's really like a mecca for kiteboarding and windsurfing.
Oh, interesting.
It's like you can go out on a windy afternoon, and you'll see hundreds of kites just out there. And the Dominican guys around are really good because they grow up doing it. Like these kids now, they're a little younger generation. They grew up doing kiteboarding. They get, a few of them get to travel and do it. So it's pretty cool. I love it here. I'm not from here originally, but
where are you from?
I'm from a small island in the middle of the Atlantic that everybody thinks in the Caribbean. It's named Bermuda.
Oh, yes.
So it's 20 miles long, 1 mile wide, maybe a mile and a half at its widest.
It doesn't even show up on a map unless you're like super zoom.
But you know what? It's the most expensive country in the world.
Is
We're
it?
number one in
something. Well, I bet.
Expensive. So
how long did you live there before moving?
I lived there till I'm 42. I lived there until I was 26, 27. Yeah, I've been here for 14 years, I would say. Yeah, so I lived there majority of my life.
What made you want to move?
Funny story. Bermuda is, you make really good money in Bermuda, and it's like a trap. You make good money, so you get comfortable. And yes, there's people struggling in Bermuda, but you live a comfortable life. Like most Bermudians, they travel. I've been traveling since I was a young kid with my family, and then later on myself traveling on my own, because 20 miles, you have to fly everywhere.
Right.
So everything goes through Miami, New York, Boston to come where we have to go, or we go over to England because it's a British colony. But 2005, I was a airport firefighter, and I was 26. maybe 25. I can't remember. 2005. I'm bad at math, so um, I had just spent a month racing in America, and I had to like a OFNA race, which was pretty nice. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. Then I met up with a guy. We went out to South Carolina for a race. Then I linked up with some guys from North Carolina. We went out to LA to where Sun Valley was for the RC Pro Finals. Oh, I'm trying to think of the name of that area. It's not a very good area in LA. It's Burbank.
Familiar.
Yeah, so it used to be a really nice track out there called Sun Valley. That Greg was talking about that on the last podcast. And so I went out there and I came back home from Bermuda, and I was going through things in Bermuda. Like I was like going through I had lived with a girl, and then we kind of split up, and just was issues going on. So I was just like living life, drinking, partying. I was a firefighter. I was in good shape. I was, but I wasn't really happy in life. I was like, man, not happy. Like I'm doing everything right that I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm not really getting what I want. So I was just out drinking one night and came home speeding on my bike. And it wasn't like we had a 150cc scooter. Excuse me.
So, so you weren't going that fast?
Yeah, I was doing about 60 miles an hour.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah. I was drunk. Had been drinking, and I'd done this thousands of times in my life. Like coming home, drinking, and just misjudged a corner and actually struck a wall.
No way.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you know what's so funny? As I hit that wall and I flew, like as I was flying through the air, I said, "You dumbass, you just hit that wall." And then when I hit, and I was like, oh, the wind was knocked out of me. And then, like, honestly, it was wintertime, so we had bigger jackets on. It gets cold wintertime in Bermuda. So I was like, man, I can't feel my arm. Like, uh-oh.
Oh, no.
And I thought it was off.
Oh,
but
no.
It was just in the jacket. Because that's how hard I hit. Like. Yeah. And I couldn't feel it. And then I like shook my body, and I said, okay, my arm's still attached. I felt pain. Weren't no blood. But when I got up, just imagine like I had broke all my clavicle and ripped all the scapula out of all the muscles and tendons. No. So basically my shoulder was just hanging down to the side, and my left arm was hanging below. I'm standing up straight. My left arm was hanging below my knee. Like just imagine someone hit you on top of your shoulder and just look like that. And I was like, oh man. You know what? I'm thinking like, I got to get out of here, because if the police come, I'm in trouble. Right? Or the ambulance come. So I'm going to get in trouble.
It's so sad that that's your thought process too.
Well, I had to get out of there. Like, I'm a young man. We in Bermuda, like we just, it has lots of rules, but we still, we're young. I didn't care. I didn't really worry about rules back then. And I had been a prison officer too. So I've locked people up and all that stuff before I became a firefighter. Wow. I turned key on people. So I kind of like picked the bike up, kicked all the remnants of the bike out of the way. The bike was missing a piece of the front wheel, all this type of stuff. The wall that I hit was broken. I broke it. I was pretty proud of that. And I rode the bike off about a mile, about a kilometer away. And I just laid out. I was like, I can't go no further, the front wheels. And I was like, a friend of mine, she came to pick me up. And I said, look, just take me home. I'll go to the hospital tomorrow when I'm sober. And then like my mom told me, she's like, no, you need to go now.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I think I should wait till tomorrow. So she finally takes me to the hospital. And as soon as I walk in, the nurse is like, man, you're going to have to go to Boston. And they ambulanced me out like 2 days later to Boston Leahy Clinic. There I was very fortunate to have a very good room, very good insurance from my employer, BAS Sarco at the time.
Right.
And basically I had hit so hard, they had to put a plate in my clavicle, which is your the front of your shoulder. And they're like, well, basically what happened is you pretty much ripped your shoulder off out of everything, and the nerves and everything, you stretched them. We couldn't find any damaged nerves, but the only thing we can assume is that you stretched them, and we don't know how long it's going to take to regenerate. But your arm is pretty much like it was, I'd say about maybe 60% paralyzed. Like I still don't have bicep now in that arm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So now I'm worked my ass off to be like a fireman and all this type of stuff. I was a prison officer, and I wanted to be a fireman, but I was not happy. But I was when this happened, I didn't even get mad. I was like, no, I needed a break. Even got a vacation out of it. I went to Leahy Clinic. Um, they operated on me. I spent like 2 weeks out there. My mom was out there. Um, Came back to Bermuda. I had to relearn everything. Like when you don't have your arm, and it was on my left arm, but I used it for so much. Even just getting out of the bed was difficult. And then I had to learn how to like tie my shoes and put on my belt. I can't use my pocket on my left side to this day. If I do, it's
because you can't put your hand in there and get
yeah, I
anything
can't.
out.
So that makes it difficult. Like when I'm just like Joseph, like, all right, carry this, this, and this, and I'm gonna put stuff all in my right pockets. And he's so
The
inconsiderate.
right side of your pants are slacking.
And then I'm trying to keep. I've got something in my hands. So I'm trying to keep them from falling down as I walk. It's embarrassing, but yeah, but life is strange, and blessings come in disguises. And I had been working since I was 16. Graduated. You graduate back and then. You graduated high school at 16. I had no intentions of going to school. I wanted to work, and then I got into traveling. I was working at my uncle's gas station, pumping gas 7 days a week. Just to like take a month off to come down here to the DR because my uncle had brought me down here on vacation when I was young, and I fell in love with this place right away. It's like it's crazy. Like it's the Wild West here, and it was way more like the Wild West. Nothing like I had never seen in my life. And I fell in love with this country the first day I ever came here, and I always wanted to live here. So he had moved here to the DR, and I had stopped coming for like when I went 21. I was able to come to the States more and party there, and I wanted to kind of live the Bermudian dream, get a wife or get a good girlfriend, have a kid, a good job, all that stuff. And that kind of never worked out for me. I was never happy. So I was like, man, I needed a break from all of that. It came in the form of an accident. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That's crazy.
Collective perspective.
Well, that mind blowing to me, Keenan. That like just hearing you tell your story is just like insane. The level of I don't know. I don't even know what you would call that.
It's just, nothing, dude. It was a wake up call. Like, yes. And you know what? It didn't like I still enjoy myself and I still drink and I you heard me on the podcast many times. Like, non-her, it's legal. Like, I literally we went to the beach yesterday and we was drinking rum and coke and we got stopped in a roadblock and it's just like, hey, what's up? Give me 100 pesos. See you later. Have a good time at the beach. I know that's not the best way to live life because there's somebody else that can cause an accident, but it's just how it is down here. It's just life here. It's different. So I'm really truly free here, and
you seem happy.
I love it here.
Yeah,
like, I love it here. Like, I've been on an adventure since 2006. My life restarted in 2006 after my accident. No, December 1st, 2005, when I got on my accident, and then I got bored. I went work at my cousin's shop selling stuff, and he had a little grocery store. I was doing that while I was still getting money from the fire service. I couldn't do firework, but I could, I wasn't even supposed to work, but I was just working because I was bored. And then I just decided to come down here one Easter for Easter. It's like I haven't been here for a while. I came here, spent 3 months here. I loved it. I went back home. No, actually, I went back to Leahy Clinic for a checkup. Like, yeah, your arm's still paralyzed. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I went back.
I don't need a doctor to tell me that.
I went back to like settle up some insurance stuff. They gave me about 10 grand, 12 grand, and I still was gonna get like $2,300 a month, which was good money back in like 2006. Here, especially, rented out my apartment to my cousin, so I was making really good money here. And I just, oh man, I partied like a rock star. I had a condo, and I had a nice little condo, and bought myself a car, and I spent a whole bunch of money on music. But it was so cool. I had an internet cafe that I didn't really care if it made a little bit of money. It paid for the rent and insurance. Paid for my employees because internet was like there was no real 3G and all that stuff down here at that time.
Right. So back then it was probably
Yeah, so I had a little
probably
internet.
a hot little spot.
Yeah, in Cabarete, in a little town, I had internet cafe, and it was a bar, and I would make little sandwiches and sell people. And then I met so many people through that, and I'm still friends
I
with
can
to this
imagine.
day, like from all over the world. Yes, Bermuda's a tourist place, but I never worked in a tourist industry. But I did her, and I made friends and met so many different people from different cultures. And I always knew Canadians and Americans, but I started meeting more Europeans and made friends with everybody. And
Yeah.
we just partied, and I got kind of like, hey man, this is what life is all about. Getting to know people who are different from you and having fun with them and finding
Oh,
things
yeah.
in common.
Yes.
And I have so like
100%.
I think I can literally do a whole nother podcast, right? On just my adventures and people and characters that I've met. So I like to say I live in the gray area, man. I do. I live like I don't live by everybody else's rules. That's crazy. That may sound crazy, but I kind of don't. Like your rules that you live by in America don't really phase me. Yes,
Right.
I do my own thing. Like I don't even like it's so crazy. Like everything goes through my wife, her. I just kind of exist. I'm just from Bermuda. I'm here, and I go in and out to go to races and stuff like that. And I have incredible stories that maybe I can tell one day. That I've traveled. I met people here, and I got to travel to like Ecuador to work for 6 months, tunneling in Banos.
That's cool.
Like, through a guy I met in RC. He was living
That
here.
is too cool.
Yeah, it's that's why I've always said in life, yes, you need to know things, but it's also who you know and how you treat people.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's even more so the latter of what you just said, how you treat people, being kind.
You just be kind to people and talk to them. Most of the
I've
time,
always said it's not about what you say to people, it's about how you make them feel.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to remember you.
I like to make people
that.
laugh. I'll say jokes to people, and maybe a dirty joke, and maybe something crazy like they never heard, and they'll just laugh. I'm like, man, that's funny. And that's how my uncle used to be, and I learned a lot from him. And then I kind of was just like, I'm not rude to people. I'll just be like, hey, what's up? And I'll tease you or maybe something like that, but you can tease me back. And I just met so many people through that. And then it's just crazy. Like I really started living my life after my accident. And it was so funny because people said, oh, you'll be back to Bermuda in 6 months.
Didn't happen.
And then I'm here 14 years later, and it's been like Ecuador, 6 months. I've saw volcanoes spewing hot ash at this place. I was making $500 a day clean, like 6 days a week, everything paid for. I was making bank. And then like my buddy, he's the boss. He's like, yeah, bring your girlfriend, my wife down here so you can hang out with my girlfriend. She was from DR. And we just, that taught me something like tunneling work. I'd never been underground, operating a radio controlled machine that sprays shotcrete because I met somebody in RC. And then I went from there. After that, I went to Abu Dhabi. Hey, you guys know LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
I literally got that job off LinkedIn. I got on a plane to Abu Dhabi. Never met anybody, just all through email, maybe a couple phone calls. I was like, am I gonna be in like one of these rooms with 20 guys and sharing a bathroom with 200 people in a because you hear all this and it happens. But I was staying in a workers' village and I was staying like where the engineers and like where they had bought workers from. There was a lot of Portuguese guys, so they had brought people from Europe, and I was part of that contingent. But if you went down further, when I used to get my haircut and walk down, you got to the barracks that had 10 guys to a room and all that stuff. It's crazy. I hopped on a plane. I didn't even know what I was getting into, but I was like, you know what? Might as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to have been freaking scared, like nervous.
At first. You got some like, and then I got there, and then it was good because then I finally got there, and there was a German guy there, a young guy. He had been in Abu Dhabi a long time, and he just kind of hit me to everything. And then I just went to work. You work 12 hours a day. You just come home, eat, sleep, do it all over again, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. And yeah, it was a great experience. Abu Dhabi's different. Like it's way different over there. Fridays are the day off. It's like the holiday. So
Really?
that's your day. You get to go out and have fun. Like, well, for me, I would go out and go drinking or whatever, or go somewhere.
What's your
So
favorite drink of choice?
I like beer, unfortunately. I really do. I like Modelo's
What
when I'm
kind
in
of beer?
America. I like Modelo's when I'm in Bermuda. I
Mm,
mean, when I'm in the States. I like them here too. And I like White
nice.
Claws. I like White Claws. You know.
Oh, Nick likes some White Claws. Is it White Claws or Truly?
I like all
Like,
that. I like beers too, right? I do like
yeah.
Yeah, I like
I
beer too
love
much.
beer. It just doesn't love my body back, so that's why I can't drink beer all the time.
I'm just fat, so I just drink. And unless
I recently declared that I'm not gonna drink until July because I'm just trying to get fit, and we're going to Mexico in July, so
yeah.
gotta get ready for it.
I've done that twice
It's
too.
hard.
Get all in shape, lose 100 pounds. I've done that twice in life, lose 100 plus pounds. I've done it
Wow.
with 2 arms, and I've done it with my half an arm. Yeah.
So it's
And now
possible.
I'm
You
just
give me
lazy.
hope.
I'm just lazy now, and like I need to get in shape. But I went deep in whatever I go. Like I went in the gym, I was weighing food and eating and 6 times a day and all that type of stuff. It was crazy. I can't live like that. I have to
Yeah,
just
that
clean
seems
up.
like a little much.
Yeah, I was insane. Like I was trying
Yeah.
to, I was just going to the gym 6 days a week, sometimes 2 a days. I had nothing else to do. And then
Dang.
yeah. And I did that when I was in Bermuda working, but I was younger. I was like 24, 25. So yeah, life
Still
is
impressive.
funny. Life is funny, dude. Life is funny. You got to make the best out of your situations. And I'm not ready for the adventure to be over. And I thought it was going to be over. And then I met Joseph. And then
How did that happen?
now I'm here talking to you guys on a podcast. I met Joseph.
Wait. You have to explain who Joseph is because some of our listeners don't know.
Joseph Quagrain. He's or JQ.
Joey Q.
He doesn't like that name, but people are calling him that. He likes Rupert the most, right? But call him Joey.
But what
Rupert.
he has to understand is he needs to understand, though, the one that he at least convinces everybody that he hates the most is the name that everybody's going to want to call him.
Yeah, good.
So if he wants to use his reverse psychology,
he loves that.
That's my tip for Joey Q.
He loves making fun of himself and people making fun of him. I don't know. The guy's weird.
He seems like a really good guy, actually.
I think that's his defense mechanism. I'll make fun of myself. So people, but
I think we all have that to an extent.
Yeah, but he's like an expert at it. Like he's like, oh, that's so funny. You should do that. Or like, oh, Keenan, you should kick me in the balls because it would be a funny video. Or something like that.
I like that, man. I would love to meet him one day.
Just don't. If he ever says anything like, "I have a plan," run away.
Why is that?
Because the plan involves you doing something that you probably extra. You probably want to do, but you're just like, I have a plan. But yeah, Joseph is. Joseph Quagrain. He used to be a professional RC car racer. He's now. We are literally the smallest RC company in RC, chassis manufacturer. It's him and me, and then Brent. But he makes all the decisions. He designs.
And that's JQ Racing.
Yes, he designs and races his own car and sells his own car, and he needs to hire a driver because he's getting slow. He doesn't want to admit that. But he might pick up a little speed. He might pick up a little speed because he's in California and he's like surrounded by RC, which is good. He didn't do that last year. He was in love in the Philippines. But this is probably one of the biggest characters in RC. He is you either love him or hate him, and most people hate him. But either way, people are listening to him when he has to talk about these RC cars. And his knowledge in RC is extent. And this dude has done it. Like people were like, oh, people think he's like a millionaire. His parents are really rich and all that. No, they're not. They're just regular finished people. He's not rich. He's just been doing this, and he decided to make his own car, failed 2 times to do it with a regular company. Then finally we did it on his own. His first car came out. It was it handled good, but it was very fragile. And then he had to fix that. And so many people have said, I don't know how JQ is even still around, but we are. And he's very, very, very controversial. He is, he aggravates me.
He is
is
controversial,
super,
man.
On the podcast that I was listening to today, which was your episode 60, I was just laughing because he was like, as I was listening to it, I was like, dang, this guy's kind of like not like a D-bag, but I'm like, maybe this is just the RC world. And then you called him out on something. Yeah, well, you called him out on something. You're like, why do you always got to be an asshole? And then I go, oh, okay, this is the duo. Okay, this is the dynamic we got here. Okay.
But that's him.
Made sense for me then.
That's how we are on that podcast is exactly how we are in real life. We would
But
talk.
I loved it. Well, you could tell it was. Yeah. It was just raw.
Well, like I probably would hit him in real life. I'll probably throw something at him. Like, shut up. Like, I would be like, shut the F up, you stupid.
And he knows that. That's why he can say a little bit more on the podcast because you're not right next to him.
But he's knowledgeable and he's funny and he's so controversial. Like, I swear, like, he triggers everybody and he doesn't care. And I'm like, man, you got to shut up. It's like, nope, I'm not shutting up. And I'm like, but you should. Maybe
does he get a kick out of triggering?
I think so, but I honestly think that he honestly feels what he's doing makes a difference. He believes in what he writes, like, and it's mostly political. He's very, very, but he says stuff like, the way he says things is like, it's true, but it's the asshole's version of truth. That's actually a great way to put it. Yeah. I just thought of that. It's true. But it might not be like what you want to actually hear.
Well, it ties up nicely with what Audrey said, right? Like, it's not about what you're saying all the time. Sometimes it's about how you're making them feel. And I think with JQ, I think he's, most of the time when I hear him talk, he seems very much like he's got good intentions. And we've talked about that too. But he's to me, I know he's controversial and stuff, and I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time talking about JQ, but I do want to say that his story really to me is the inspiration for me really tends to kind of overshadow any of the controversy.
His story is the American dream.
It's badass. And honestly, you said it. You said, man, most people are surprised that he's even still around. And that to me is what makes him badass is, I'm a big fan of like Walt Disney, and look at what he built. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
he like Joseph?
He went through failure after failure after failure after failure. I mean, just going and going and going and going, and people going like, "You're crazy," and he just kept doing it. And I like that about JQ. I like that
he doesn't stop. Like look at RCGP. When I heard that, I was like, oh, man, it's all over. And it's like, it's not over. We're taking a year off, and we're going to come back better than ever next year. And we're going to find a sponsor this year. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, sounds good. Let's do that. Like, we have the product. Let's take it to the masses now. Like, I can't wait for this video series to come out.
Oh, I can't either. Oh, my gosh. I know this isn't an RC
Audrey
podcast,
must be like, what are these nerds talking about? But, like.
Nick's going to ask you for, like like a previous release just for him.
I don't
like a
even
private
know.
Release.
Like, I'm not even getting that. I just know what I was there at that race, and I saw how much work went into the production of the race in America, and they did that at every race. And those guys that do that, Control RC Racing TV, they are some of the best in the industry. And Matt does that for a lot of full scale gymkhana type of stuff with Monster Energy. But man, we have to make this stuff exciting, right? Exciting and catch people's eye and not look like a satanic cult out in a field in black hoodies. Because that's what we look like. Or nerds in the field, people, like, oh.
You do look like nerds.
But yeah, man. He gave me a chance. He gave me a chance that nobody Like, it's so funny. Like, he says, I was like, hey, Joseph, he came down to the DR. I missed him the year before because I was working in Qatar. I was working in Qatar for 3 months. So I missed him in 2016. I was here for 2017. And what Joseph is he's into charities and trying to do stuff in poor countries. Like, he's into that. Like, he honestly believes in helping people. So he wanted to check out this.
See, he's a good man.
For-profit charity. Yeah. Yeah. He was interested in this for-profit charity up here called the Dream Project. Joseph thing, his action sports. He has a clothing line that he was like, I want to use my clothing line to make money to help through action sports to help communities and stuff like that. This is his dream. That's what he says. I'd rather do this more than anything RC related, anything. So he has that. It's called JQ Threads. So we came down. He came to this race and we just kind of met and we knew, like, I'm old school, so I knew a lot of people. We just got talking and I was like, hey, we was driving around drinking and just getting lost around Santo Domingo, probably in some areas we probably shouldn't have been because I don't know where I was going. And
I love it.
I was like, dude, I need a job. Like, I was like, hey, we just got talking. It's like, hey, so what do you do down here? I was like, well, right now I get rent from Bermuda and I got this going. And it's like, oh. I was like, yeah, why? I said, why? You got a job for me? And it's like, oh, I just might have one. So we got to talking a little bit and it's like, all right, I'll hit you back up when I get back to Finland. And he hit me up and it's like, all right, I got a job for you, but I can't really pay you. I was like, well, that's not a job. That's like, but anyway.
It's like an internship.
I'm like, all right. But I was like, I'll give you commission. And it's like, all right, get me in 1 week. I'll give you 3 weeks. Because my thing was, I'm going to try and push JQ racing in Latin America because I can speak not perfect Spanish, but I speak good Spanish. So it's like, get me a week, give me in 3 weeks, give me some time. I want a list of potential drivers, team drivers, and hobby shops. And I was like, okay, I don't even know how to do Excel. I was like, I went in on an Excel sheet. I'm not computer literate. I don't know how to do Excel and all that type of stuff. And I'm like, this guy ain't paying me. But he just made a demand. I didn't know how Joseph was. Like, he's really bad texting. It's the worst thing in the world. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Forget this guy. And I was getting a job. I had a job lined up in Bermuda. I had to come back and get in the trap. And I was like, you know what? My mom goes, you should try it. You always wanted to do this and you can stay with your family. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to try it. It started with one dude I met on Facebook, started talking. Adrian DeLuca is from Uruguay. Cool dude. He runs the car. He was like the last person to run the car. It's like, oh, check out Bolivia. Check out this. Check out these people. And I just connected with all these people and we sold a good bit of cars. And it's like, all right, wow, you did a good job. He's like, you think we should go on a tour down there? I was like, yeah, I think it'd be great. I think you should go. It's like, no, we're going to go. I was like, what? It's like, yeah, let's do it in November, but plan it all out. I said, what? Plan out a tour? I don't know what I'm doing. And I did. I just went online and booked tickets. And it just so happened that everything fell out. And like, we went to Bolivia first. And they're like, oh, we're going to have a national here this weekend. So you should come for this weekend. And then the following weekend, we did to the national. We went to their national. We landed at 15,000 feet in La Paz and you couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. I'd probably die if I went there now. We went down to Cochabamba, which 8,000 feet, which is better, but it struggled with these nitro cars. We went there. We had fun. Then we caught a bus to Peru. Peru, Tacna, Peru. We went through Chile. The guy picked us up in the border of Chile, and like we drove 10 minutes, and we was in Peru, and we was 2 hours back of time. So we went there. Some guy had some rinky-dink track, and we went there. And we ran on his track. We smuggled nitro over there and Powerade bottles because they didn't have no nitro over there. So we went through customs and all that stuff.
Oh wow!
With that, and then we spent a weekend there with him. Then we flew to Argentina. They were having a national there too. It just worked all right in this place called Mendoza. We went there and the people treated us good. And I raced and Joseph raced. He actually didn't. Two Argentinian guys beat him, but he had brake problems or something. Then we went to Chile after that and met a guy there. Then from Chile, we flew to Colombia, spent a week in Colombia. then to America. And that was like, oh, I love this.
Wow.
We did all.
That's when you fell in love with that. You were like, I'm in.
Yeah, and then we went to America. And I hadn't been to a race in America in so long. And we got there and it was good. And then it just kind of, the USA thing kind of just fell in my lap and more people started contacting me. And then I'm here. And it's been an adventure and people got to know me in the industry. And then I was like, Joseph, I want to make a podcast. And I said, I want to make a podcast because I said, these podcasts that are out now, they're cool, but they talk about their regions and they don't really talk about what I want to know about. A lot of it's guesswork and they don't really ask the questions that I want to know. And he said, well, let's do it. And it took me months to do it. And he finally got me to do it. And then I just learned how to do it. And I'm still learning. And it's become my passion. And I enjoy it. And I've met lots of people through this. And now I guess I'm connecting to a lot of people. And yeah, I guess I kind of want my message to just be cool. We're fortunate to be racing RC cars. And we should enjoy it. Yes, we're gonna fight. I'll argue about RC, but man, life's too short for that stuff, man. We gotta drink beer, race RC cars, and just enjoy life. Or as I like to say when people say, "Why do you love the DR?" I said, "I love the DR. You know why? It's cold beer and hot women everywhere. And I'm married. I still like to drive around, and I like to drink my beer. And I tell people all the time, I live a truly
or a White Claw."
No, White Claw is not her. I haven't found them yet. But in the States. But like when people say to me, hey, why don't you move to America? And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. They're like, oh, what you mean? I'm like, I love America. I love coming there. It's nice to come there and just see. And it's, it's like stuff that I see from television and what I remember growing up. And it's really nice. Like, especially I've driven across America like 6 times now with the van, RC. And I enjoy that drive because I see something new every time. I mean, I'm going to do it this year, unfortunately. Not that I know of. But I might want to come to America for maybe 2-3 months at a time. But I don't really want to live there. It's nice to visit. And if I wanted to make money, like get a regular job, I'd go home to Bermuda and just work my ass off there and send all my money here. But I'll be away from my family. I like it here. Like I live very comfortable. Yes, I want to make more money and be more comfortable. But I live here in my family.
Everybody wants that.
Yeah, of course. We all want that. But there's no way I can live in Bermuda with 2 kids and my wife for what I live off of here. You know? Bermuda's so expensive. I would hate to be raising kids there. My buddy, he's got a house and raising a kid, and I don't know how you have paying off a house in Bermuda and kids is like, it's incredible. But here I've learned to live. I've learned to appreciate more things because I see poverty, like real poverty, not people who are in poverty because like I'm real poverty, like people that poop in outhouses and stuff like that. And I was just there yesterday, like when we was going to the beach, like you can see like people living in shacks. And I rent a nice 4-bedroom house, really cheap. I have a nice yard for my dogs. People think I'm rich. I'm not rich. I'm here because it's convenient and I like it here. And like it's just different here. It's a different vibe. And a lot of people come to this country and they want this country to, a lot of people come here and they want this country to change for them. But this is the oldest country in the Western Hemisphere. Christopher Columbus landed here. Like I believe the Vikings were in America before, but that's a whole other thing. But I know that's crazy. But as history tells us,
I believe that too.
As history tells us that when America was found, Dominican Republic is the oldest country because this is where Columbus landed. Yes, they just came and did their thing here. Like everything bad that Columbus done and everything good that he done started her. So this is the oldest country and people don't know that. This country has the oldest everything, school, high school. Actually, Bermuda has the oldest high school. Sorry. I went to it. It's actually a private school now.
Nice.
But it's little things like that. And so when people like, when I tell them, I was like, you guys don't understand. Like, I see people, they have all this nice stuff in America. They have a RV or a camper, and they have a trailer, and they pull up and they do this RC stuff. And that's nice. That's cool. That's so great. But these people just like, I don't even know if they leave their country. Like I love America. It's a vacation for me, and I love going to every different state. But I couldn't imagine not being able to leave America, not leaving America, because I'm been brought up to travel, had to all my life. So if you say to me, "Hey, I gotta hop on this plane and go here," I'm gonna go. Even though I'm getting kind of traveling's getting old because I've been doing it a lot this last year, but to the same places. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I could live in America. I come there, I spend some time there. I love coming to race with people, and I love being there. I love America. It's a great country. But I don't want to live there. I live great here. I'm going to die here. She's going to bury me here.
But isn't that cool though, Keenan, that you have, like, think about it, like listening to you talk and like talk about, kind of what got you where you're at and all the things that you've done and you've experienced in your life. I think what's really cool about what you're saying though, is that all that experience and everything that you've learned over the years is the reason you can sit here and tell us what you like and what you don't like. And you can sit here and actually acknowledge your current situation as, a blessing and go, yeah, like I'm happy where I'm at. And here's why I'm happy where I'm at. And I think so many of us, like to your point, we were talking about just like, for example, people that are just staying in America that never get to see anything outside of that. But take that down to like even more realistic for so many of us that just stay in our house, in our home, never venturing out, never experiencing anything else outside of that. It's really easy for somebody that's living that same thing day over day over day over day to really start getting the wrong perspective on life. And somebody could have what you have right now, Keenan, like living what you'd have right now. And because they haven't gone through all of what you've gone through, they could have a total lack of appreciation or even despise their situation, right? Because they have the wrong perspective.
Yeah. You can't, like, I tell people all the time, like, I know what you mean. Like, I know people that haven't even left their state. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just
very common.
And I'm like,
very common here.
Like my buddy, Mike Hill, I call him California Mike. This dude, he sounds like a redneck. Like he's got that twang. He's from North Carolina, Charlotte. This dude is one of the most open-minded guys I've ever met. Like, if you ever listen to him, and first time I ever met him, I was like, man, this guy sounds like a redneck. Like, but as I've gotten to know him over the last 2 years, this guy, like, he likes Formula One. His outlook on RC is really good. He's very truthful about lots of things, like his own country, just things like people's attitudes. And I listen to him a lot. And he's never even left America. But I was like, man, you got to get a passport. So yeah, I'm going to get it. And he got it. And I said, now you got to get your wife's passport. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to get it. He was like, I think my passport's like, he can be a little like tentative on stuff. And I'm like, I think my passport might be out of date. I was like, dude, Mike, it's good for 10 years, dude. You got it a year ago. Yeah, right. I was like, no, we got to, I was like, he wants to go to Europe to race. And like our buddy JB, he like, honestly, I'm off tangent. Have you seen The Hangover? You've seen The Hangover, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, of course.
All right. So
I think
this is our
everybody has seen that movie.
Yeah, so this is our Wolfpack. And JB's like Mr. Chang. He's like, it's like he's Vietnamese American. And he's just like, he's the smallest guy, but he's the biggest in stature. And it's just me, him, Mike. And we've been going to all these races. He's been coming to all of them. We just always hang out together and get into mischief with each other. Or, wherever we go, it's going to be fun. Maybe we might go out to dinner. It's like JB is going to do something crazy and it just leads to, hey. But who would have thought, like some guy from Charlotte, a Vietnamese American guy who can speak Spanish, and some Mexican looking Puerto Rican dude, they ain't sure what it's all about, but he's just here and he's got a British passport. And they're like, ooh, but he speaks good English, or he speaks funny English. So it's different, man. I love America, though. I would definitely live in California, though. I think. I know it's expensive.
It is, man. It is expensive.
Yeah.
But it's so great there, man. Great weather.
It is freaking. I love visiting California.
Yeah.
And if I could live
Yes.
there, I would. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because my favorite place, probably one of my favorite places to be, especially with my family, is Disneyland.
Oh yeah.
And freaking love Disneyland, bro.
Never been
Love
there.
it.
Been to Disney World
We
multiple
practically
times.
grew up there.
Yeah. When I think California, I think like Gleam in the Cube and all these type of movies back in the day. And because
Back in the day,
I was big into skating, and so I used to read all the magazines, Thrasher and all that stuff, and everything was in California.
Right.
And like I see something.
I will never forget when we were kids. Nick, actually, you showed me how to skateboard, and you taught me how to do my first ollie. And when I actually did it, I thought I didn't do it, but you and Nick Johnson were like screaming because I did an ollie off the curb.
Like, we're like, you got like an inch
And I
off
was
the
just
ground.
like, yeah, and I was like, what did I do? And you guys were like, you just ollied, and just freaked out.
It's just an awesome place, and to know so much stuff came out of this one area, like so much stuff came out of California and SoCal mostly, and then
it's still coming out of California.
Like you go there
Yeah.
for RC, if you're on the cusp of like being a pro, man, you gotta like, yeah, I tease Joseph, but I'm telling you, the time he's spending there racing and testing,
it's helping him.
It's gonna help him a lot if he, and he says it's not. I was like, it doesn't. I said, dude, if you're like on the cusp and you're on the East Coast or something like guys like Kyle McBride and maybe some of these European guys, they should come over here for like not the European guys are all right, like, but they're gonna be here like DNC. Like Runafalk just finished his race in France. I bet you he's in California Thursday. And
there's a different vibe there, man.
Yeah.
You're vibing in California differently than you do everywhere else.
It's so,
you
it's great, man. I love it there. Like I usually go for a few days extra, but it's just really difficult for me this time. My wife's busy. Can't stay too long for the kids, and money-wise. I would have went out there for the weekend before, went to Santa Barbara and practice, just had a good time. But like when you travel with Joseph, you are definitely it's like, Joseph, a place for me to stay? No, I don't have any place to stay. And I'm not paying for you to be here 2 days before. It's like, yeah, well, screw you. I'm not coming. I'll be there on Tuesday and leave on Monday. And just how it has to be. Unfortunately, so I don't really get that much time in Cali, but I'm going to enjoy it. We know how to get around now. We've been there I've been there 4 or 5 times. So I get it. I know how to plan for traffic.
I will say that's the cool thing about like the United States and stuff, because our country is so massive that like you can look at Northern California people, they're completely different from Southern California people.
Well, that's the world, period. I mean, even in Bermuda, where I'm from, and it's 20 miles long, I'm different from a lot of the Bermudians that are like where I'm from in Bermuda, like we was an island for the longest while. A separate island that you had to get
and
to.
So many.
Hello?
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, we was a separate island, and you had to get there by boat. But then, like in the 40s, I think it was the Navy, U.S. Navy came in, and then they wanted to make an airport there, so they like filled in all like, was a whole bunch of islands in this area, and my island where I live was the biggest one, so they all filled it all in, connected it all with Phil, made this at the time the world's biggest airport landing strip, and it all became one big island, which is St. David's, which I'm from.
But the people who don't necessarily travel, because I mean I traveled all over, people who don't travel tend to be I don't want to come off rude sounding this, but a little bit more like narrow-minded and grouping people together, because even when I look at Europe, I know that like there's different regions all over, and you can hear it in their accents too.
Yeah.
It's the same way with, anywhere. But people who don't travel don't really put that together. So they would just say if they never traveled and they lived on the East Coast or something, they'd group all Californians together. Oh, California's California. But I'm like, no, there's different parts of it.
No,
you can tell just by the words that they say.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like that in lots of places. Even here, my wife tells me the difference. Like Dominicans speak really bad. They speak Spanish like Jamaicans speak English. that's the best way I can describe Dominican Spanish. It's very, very fast,
I
very
like that.
raw, very, very patois. Like when I was speaking in South America, you said things differently. My wife can't explain to me. And I could understand the South Americans a lot better. Dominicans speak so fast, man. So crazy. Everything's faster. This is just I think people would come spend maybe a couple of days here with me, and I could take them. I just think they would be in such a culture shock. It'd be different for them. Like it's the Wild West here, man. It's just different, and I love that. And I feel free here, and my children are gonna grow up here, and my son has more opportunity in this semi third world country than he does back in Bermuda, in my opinion. Because Bermuda's a very small country. If you have talent, you can't really go far. And he can be whatever he wants here. Like he can be a baseball player. That's big here. He like mixed martial art, like anything he wants. Like he can do it here. And I got him in a nice little private school for like $60 a month. Not even $60.
Wow.
And it's decent.
Yeah,
And,
that's really.
we live here. It's just different. Like I couldn't explain like where people would freak out about stuff. I don't like. I've learned to live here, and I'm just like, yeah, something's going wrong. All right,
You
well,
found your paradise.
I would say that. Like, and people's like, well, when you coming back to Bermuda? I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, not if I can help it. Like, but I am trying to take my family there this summer. Maybe my wife, maybe she doesn't go because like it's hard for Dominicans to get visas because they're so hard headed. Like they get a visa, tourist visa, and they go to America, East Coast, and they don't come back. So it makes it hard. And we just want to, because we have to transit through, I have to transit through America to get to Bermuda.
Wow.
There's no direct flight from the Caribbean, anywhere in the Caribbean to Bermuda. So it's either go through America, Canada, or England. And to go through England is expensive. So we tried to get a visa for a few years ago. It didn't work. My children, they can get their UK passport, which I'm working on. I'll have, and maybe she can get a transit visa. My son is getting impatient, so he's watching his sister. She's a pain, but yeah, maybe we gotta. It's just like little things people never even think of that. Like you would not like. I want to go home to Bermuda, but I can't take my wife because she can't get a visa. And in America, you don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had to worry about that because Bermuda's a British colony. I have a Bermuda passport, which lets me go to anywhere I want. And I have a British passport that lets me go anywhere I want. But for her, we can't do that. So she's putting stuff into plan. Like I think she's got an election coming up this weekend. She might win it. She might not if she
That's
does.
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty corrupt too, but it's all right. It's like open air corruption, but I can deal with that. I can deal with corruption that I know that this is corrupt and this is how things work.
There's no guessing.
I know this is how things work. So I know that this person is coming to me. They want something from me in order for me to get something from them. And that's like, listen to my wife talk. And this is good for her because she's learning things too. I was like, yeah, this is good for you. Like, but also you got to learn, like, if you're going to get paid to do stuff, but make a difference too, if you can. Because it was funny. We was talking about it. It's like, you know what? I forget. I've been living in this country so long. And we live a decent life here. And she's like, I went to this lady's house that's so poor, Keenan. I forgot that things could be this bad in this country. And she's like, she didn't have chairs. She had holes in her roof, like some sing like tin roof. It doesn't cost much. Maybe like $8 a sheet here, right? I don't know. I haven't bought it for a long time, but she didn't have money to buy that. So
wow.
And my wife was like, yeah, you know what? If I get into power, I'm gonna make sure that woman has some chairs and has a roof that doesn't leak over her head. And she was like, yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's good because you've been complaining and like you see all the people asking you for stuff and people, all that type of stuff. That's a part of it, but you can see you can make a difference as well. And I was like, that's where you have to, you have to make sure you're all right. You're going to get paid for this, but see if you can make a difference too. And that's happened to me here. Like I get so comfortable, but then I see something that I'm just like, man, these people are in bad shape. Like, what can I do? And I like, maybe I give them some money or whatever. Or maybe I say, hey, come by my house and clean up dog poop. Like if it's a little kid, like a young kid, which I used to do, whatever, because I have 2 dogs and dog crap isn't worth anything. So unfortunately,
let's be real, nobody likes to pick that up.
Yeah, so it's different, a whole different perspective. And I think most people that I know would never see that in their lives and never understand that. But if they came out to see me, I'll make sure they see that. Go to somebody's house who's like a chef. Yes. Let me tell you, I never used to drink coffee. Never. Now I can't start my day without it, right? But all through my life when I was young, I never drank coffee. I always drank tea. I hated the smell of coffee, detested it. Everywhere I drink it, I get that stuff away from me. So I used to come down here and I would go, like my uncle knew so many people. So we'd go to so many people's houses. And these people were poor. They lived in shacks and they didn't have much, but they had enough like to go buy a little packet of coffee and they'll make you coffee. And they'd be like, wow. Yeah. And I would always refuse it. I'm like, I don't like coffee. Well, what do you want? I was like, you want juice? They'll climb a tree and go knock down lemons or something to make a juice for me. And I was like, no, I drink the coffee. And I love coffee. So
it grew on you.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that. Like people just wouldn't understand. Here we are complaining about my RC car part doesn't fit. Like, oh, boo-hoo.
Oh,
this dude,
I say that all the time. I go, first world problems.
Yeah. Like, and I have to catch myself sometimes and think, like, I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate. And I struggle every month to make ends meet. Like I don't, I have 2 kids. I have 2 dogs. I have a wife. She's expensive, No, she's not that expensive, but she's,
I like how he goes to the wife, right? It's not like my kid's expensive. It's my wife.
No, but like this all costs money.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, well, right. My wife's young and she's tolerated me for 10 years. We just celebrated our anniversary we've been married for 4. And we celebrated
happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I just said I don't know how you tolerated me all these years, and she has. And my wife's very much more younger than me, and that's just how things are on her too. So, but I don't feel my age. I do when I wake up some mornings, but like I think in my mind I'm in a good spot. I know what has to be serious, and I have to be serious about things, but I also know, hey man, that's funny, and I want to have fun. I understand how young. I kind of figure out how young people feel, and I look at people and I'm like, yeah, I was thinking that same way when I was younger. You couldn't tell me anything. Still can't tell me much now, but I'm a little bit more experienced. So it's just so much stuff, so much stuff going on, and it's just I think not everybody can do what I've done in life, and I've done nothing really special, but I got out of the matrix. That's the best way I can do it. Like everybody's like, how the matrix is, and like everybody's got this perfect, this is how it's supposed to be. And that's, everybody's got this perfect idea. Well, my perfect way of life came in a whole different form I never even expected. And it's not perfect, but I'm definitely happy. And, I know everybody can't pack their things up and move to a Caribbean country, learn a different language and a whole different way of living. Not everybody can do that. But man, I think when time comes for me to leave this earth, I think and I'm still living, I've lived a very interesting life. Maybe not glamorous, maybe not as interesting as other people's lives. Like I haven't, I'm not a millionaire and stuff like that. But I guarantee you, I could write a pretty good book of some of my experiences over life.
Sounds like it, man. I think it's awesome. I love learning about, that's one of the things I fell in love with listening to you on the podcast,
Yeah. And then I translated into RC. So that's good too. Strange.
Yeah.
Life is funny, dude. Life is so funny.
Be rich in memories.
Yeah. And you know what? I really wish I had a cell phone back in the day. Like that, I wish I had
To
I
capture
could
all that.
capture these memories from back in the day. Like, and it's so easy. Like, and you know, it's just so easy to capture things, and that's why I try to take pictures. I don't, you know, wherever I go, even if it's just something to remember me by, like, you know, because you have to enjoy life. Like I've traveled a
Mhm.
lot. I know I need to get to Europe and get to Asia. Hopefully, I get to these places through RC as well.
You will. Oh yeah, for sure. And even if it's not through RC, man, it could be, who knows? You know what I mean? What you've started with your podcast, you're going to be able to touch things that are,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
get to meet
outside of the
people.
realm of RC. Yeah. And you're going to connect with people like you and I and Audrey would not be having this conversation with you right now if you didn't start that podcast.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's good.
Or
Yeah.
if you didn't keep doing it when you felt like, you know, should I keep this going? Right. And those moments and all
Mhm.
that stuff is, you know,
Yep.
what gets us to this point.
Podcasting is so different. Like it's like I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, right? And he said something that stuck out to me, and I use that. Is like information now is like music was in the 60s and 70s. It was so
Yes.
revolutionary. And it's just so much information coming at people from so many different methods, from so many different deliveries. And we have so much like, if you want to learn about something, it's very easy to figure out anything nowadays. You don't have to read, you don't even have to read a book. You just go online, go on your phone, you find out something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, dude, you nailed it. At my house, my kid's doing homework, right? I'll hear him doing homework and I hear him go, because we have the little Google Home. Hey, Google, you know, what's, you know, they'll spit out a math problem or they'll ask some crazy history question and she answers them.
wow, that's so
It's just,
crazy, isn't it?
it's just mind boggling to me.
I had to look in encyclopedias back then, you know?
That's insane. Yeah.
You actually had to go to the
it's
library
crazy.
and then find the book.
Yeah.
That was the hardest part for me, was finding the book.
I used to never take books back to the library. I used to always be late. But podcasting is an awesome way. Like, I encourage anybody to do it. Like, a lot of people have,
Yes.
how did you do this? And I said, if you don't like it, then you're not going to be good at it. You have to enjoy what you're doing. You have to enjoy talking. You have to have passion. And you might you just might be talking about something in life. And if it might connect with somebody, like what you guys said to me last week, connected. Boom. Oh, I need to fix this in my life. I'm not doing this right. Boom. Adjust. Because I was down. Like, I was like, man, I'm not, what am I doing? Like, I was saying that to myself a lot. What am I doing here? Like, yes. Like, is this worth it? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Should I just go home? Like, should I go home and go back to being normal? Oh, my family would have more money, but they wouldn't see me. So I was like, you know what? I heard that podcast, and yes, I really enjoyed I really appreciate what you said about me at the end. And I was like, you know, Joseph, we're on the right path, because this dude, I said, if I could get 10,000 guys like him, and if I could get 100 guys in RC like him right now, who's excited and absorbing as much information as he can, and is excited to be in RC, that would improve. It's like, you know, Joseph said, 100 people wouldn't do nothing. I said, it would. But I said, we could get 1,000. Maybe 100 can maybe become 500. If 500 becomes 1,000, you know, that's how it goes. And I was
100
like,
could do it.
I said, you heard this guy? He's passionate about what we ramble on about. This guy, like, what we're saying is resonating in this dude. And I was like, yeah, what we're doing is good. We may not be mainstream. Like, we may be shunned. I think we really will, because, like, we just know too much, like, honestly. And we're not scared to say, like, I don't even think, if somebody tells me not to say it, I won't say it. But we kind of, like, Joseph has a very good handle on what's going on in our industry. And, like, they're still trying to keep that secret. And I don't like that. Not secret, but just like, man, we know what, like, RC is cool. I think it's great. We just need to make it more professional. We know what LeBron James made to go to Los Angeles. We know this in professional sports. And people, like, when people can know stuff like that, like, people want, like, well, how much does this person make? And how much does that person? That was what I used to always ask. Now I have a rough idea of how much who makes, and I know how they make it. And I'm like, there's not too many people making a lot of money in this. But then I was like, you got to understand, you don't have to pay for your RC stuff. You don't have to pay for travel. And you actually, people are giving you something every month to do that. It all adds up. But it's still just small, and we need to grow it.
But it's all about that perspective, right? Think about and to do something like that and know, like, okay, like if I do this, I'm doing it because I love it and I'm passionate about it. And that's it. It's not, I don't have like the agenda of trying to make money and become famous. And, I
never had that agenda at all.
Which is awesome.
Yes. I think time plus money. And if you put time into something and you put money into something, I think you need to get something back, right? But you have to be worth making that back. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I want to make money. Yes. Like I make a small little bit of money every month of RC, but RC takes up as much time or more as a full-time job for me, right? But that money helps me pay my bills. And when I go to these races, I meet new people and I get to hang around and people that I've met, and they, we talk and, they kind of like, that what you said made sense. And what Joseph said made sense. And you guys are right. I like how you tell that. And yeah, we need to do this and get people thinking. So I'm not saying, and I don't want to be, I'm not famous. I don't even think I'm famous. People know who I am, but I'm just some beer drinking guy who likes to drink beer and talk shit and talk about RC. I'm nobody special, but if I can help somebody somehow, some way, and if they can learn something from what we babble on about, then that's great. Like the other day, we helped raise money for that guy who had cancer.
That was cool.
I did the Packy chip.
Yeah, I heard that on the podcast.
Oh man, I did that before last year, and the chip wasn't as hot. This year it was really hot. So
you look like you were gonna die.
Yeah, I almost puked. I did puke a little bit afterwards, but I'll do it again because it was fun.
Did not look like fun, but I love what it was for, and that's what made it fun. And everybody, I couldn't stop laughing. It was just like I couldn't believe that you were not taking a drink, and you're like, "Has it been 5 minutes?"
The point is for people to laugh. The point is people like, I suffer a little bit, but this dude was suffering like he's got cancer, and like, damn, this dude needs a little bit of help. We always need a little bit of help now. People have helped me all my life, man. I can't really give monetarily away, but if I can do something to draw attention to help make money for that, then so be it. That's my way of giving back.
Keenan, is there any better feeling? Is there any better feeling in the world than helping another human being?
I really enjoyed that. Like, I wish we could do more of that. Like, I'm already planning the next one. I'm like, maybe I'm gonna pick up a toe of Satan, and
that's gonna be hotter.
Yeah. Sounds fun. But it just like if we can do that, like that Joseph does that. Like he's putting roofs on. He put roofs on a school in Mozambique, and he was helping this kid in was it in Indonesia? One of them countries, Indonesia, I think, go through school for a little bit. Just little things like that. People don't even know that he does. And he doesn't. Yeah, he does brag about the Mozambique stuff. But I was telling him the other day, I was like, man, maybe we should try and raise money to send to these people. Because, I'm trying to get him to go to Ghana. He has to go to Ghana. And you know why he has to go to Ghana?
Why?
Because Quagrain is not a Finnish name. It's not? It's from Ghana.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But he's from Finland.
Yeah, but his grandfather is from Ghana.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And
he's never been?
No, but his grandfather met his mom. His grandfather met his grandmother in England. And they made his dad.
Wow.
So he was like, you don't believe me? Look up Quagrain on Facebook and you'll see where everybody's from.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And people don't know that. Only a few people know that about Joseph.
He's a good man. He's a good man. I know that he is. I can tell when I hear him talking. I know he's a good dude. And
when people call him stuff and say all this type of stuff to him, like, you guys just, yes, he's a knob and he's a penis head. Like, yes, this is him. Like, he can be the biggest dickhead ever. But listen to what he's saying, and you would understand. Like some things he gets on my nerve. I got to tell him, man, you're wrong. Like, that isn't right. But deep down, that dude, he wants to help people, and it's like, yeah, I'm always on the. He's this thing. I'm always on the side of the oppressed. That's what he says to me. I was like, yeah, but no, I'm always on the side of the oppressed. I was like, well, I'm oppressed. Give me some more money. And then he just, you don't earn it. You don't do. Oh, you gotta. But you know what? He's a good dude. But
he is.
Some
and
days
you're a
I'm
good
like,
man.
I'm just like, man, what is this guy? I'm gonna kill him. Like, oh,
that's normal. That's
I'm like,
normal.
he's posted something on Facebook, and somebody's like, oh, what? And I was like, you know what, man? Does Joseph know that posting that bad for business? I was like, yep, he knows exactly it is bad for business. I know too. Please, if you have an issue with it, talk to him, not to me, because I don't care.
I know. You're like, I'm not his keeper.
I said, he's a man. He's 37 years old, and he's going to say what he wants to say, and he doesn't care. And he's like, I'm going to do it my way. And I was like, yeah, but, now you have a little bit more responsibility. Like, you have me, I have responsibilities.
Yes.
We have this
it's
team.
True.
We have this team, and they look up to you, and they believe in what you preach and what we preach. And I believe in that too. But you make it difficult, man, because, he's talking to a crowd of people that don't believe in what he believes in, or they believe what they believe in. I was trying to tell him, I said, people believe in what they believe in, Joseph. He's like, yeah, but they're not right. I was like, but that's maybe what they believe. You can't judge somebody because they don't believe in what you believe in.
And you have to go the complete opposite of that and be able to appreciate.
Yeah, but he goes, they're wrong, and that's wrong. They shouldn't believe that. I was like, they probably think what you believe is wrong, but I believe that. Then that starts a whole. I'm like, you know what, man? Whatever. I believe in a lot of things you say, but I also understand that this is the real world, and not everything that's perfect, not everything that is on paper is perfect. So, yeah, Tom Connor's real life.
And you said it earlier. You said you live in the gray, right?
Yeah, I don't really live by.
And I think a better way to say that is you live in a world of color.
That's actually makes sense.
Because gray seems kind of gloomy, and you sounds like you live in a world full of beautiful color.
Oh,
and I think that's a good thing.
I love it here, man. I just don't. I just see people, and I'm just like, man, I don't think you're living your best life. You're not.
Most of us aren't.
You aren't.
Most people on the planet aren't.
You aren't experiencing things. Your access to outside world comes from news outlets or whatever. Like, it's so much more to the world, like, that you would never know until you start looking and investigating and say, hey, this is cool. Like, I think one of my greatest strengths ever is I can talk to anybody. As you can tell, I can talk and I continue to talk.
It is a strength for sure.
But I think one of my strengths that makes my conversation good is I can converse about anything. And maybe I've saw a National Geographic magazine, or maybe I heard this somewhere. Maybe it was 15 years ago. And when you say something, hey, oh yeah, I know about that. I read this about this, and I remember reading this, and and I just seem to be able to remember those type of things and be able to converse with anybody. It's weird. It's really weird, but I am.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, then I can't shut up. So that's the problem.
That's not a problem, man. It's a good thing. The bad news is Audrey's headset died, so she's no longer with us.
Oh,
we're a 1 hour operation, right? So
we've been at an hour and a bit. I already broke the rules, but I want to appreciate you bringing me on her, man. And it was good to get on her and just talk about life, my life.
I loved it. I loved because I got to learn a lot more about the dude that hosts one of my favorite podcasts, which is always exciting, and just it's so cool to be able to chat with you. And you should have seen me when you were messaging me, when we were messaging on Facebook Messenger. I was so excited because I'm just like, I can't believe like I'm talking to Keenan, and it's so cool because one, I've listened to you on the podcast, right? So that kind of, it just creates, a little more excitement, right? But then also what's really cool is as I was messaging you the other day, I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, I feel like I can say that I have now a friend that lives outside of the US.
Yeah,
for the first time.
You'll make a lot
cool.
more too once you start broadening your horizons in RC, because that's the one thing we have that connects us all as RC, and that love for that passion.
Oh man, I have dreams. So many things I want to do with RC.
We need people that want to push this.
I want it to grow. That's all I want to do.
Me too.
Right?
Me too.
I just want it to grow. And honestly, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing with Rookie RC.
Yes.
I'm doing that to help it grow in my community, right? Because I can't do anything really. I mean, I don't want to say I can't, but there's not much I can do to help it grow at the scale that you guys are helping it grow, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? Hence the Rookie RC, right? Because I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm learning as I go. But I'm doing everything I can to help promote our local tracks.
That's
and
what you
get
need
people
to
out to the local tracks. And that's why I started the YouTube videos. And I know the YouTube videos are crap, right? I'm not stupid. Like I've watched enough YouTube videos to see a good quality YouTube video and a crappy one. But you know what makes my YouTube video special? A, I made it, right? And B, I didn't make it for me. I made it for other people. I made it because I want other people to come and take a look at it. And I want people to see what I'm doing and what me and my friends are doing at the track. And I want people to look at my video and go, dude, that's like the worst YouTube video I've ever seen in my life. If he can make a video, then I can make a YouTube video about RC, right?
Yeah.
And I have that same thought process with the podcast, right? I know that not all of our podcasts are going to be, the next best thing, but and you mentioned it earlier, I want other people to listen to it and go, other people that are going to be smarter than me, better spoken than me, right? Better life experience than me. I want them to hear it and go, man, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I think that there's inspiration in that. There's inspiration in getting up and doing something that you're not going to be the best at, which is what you've done, right? With so many aspects of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the most obvious that stands out right now is going to be the No Name RC podcast. But think, just what you shared with us today. I mean, you've done that. You've been there. That's what you've been doing. And that's what I want to do, right?
Yeah.
I want to help people. I want to inspire people. And I think that, yes, RC has brought us together in terms of having this conversation, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it's the fact that you really do genuinely care about people, and you genuinely, do want to, you want people to experience the joy you experience with RC. I'm the same way. I want people to experience that joy because I love it that much, but I care about people that much too. And I know, like, man, I want people to hold that, the transmitter in their hand and feel what I feel.
Yes.
And, you know what I mean? You want to share that with them. And that's what I want to do. Right. And I think it's just, it's a good thing that we all have that in us as human beings. I think it's bad when we don't listen to what our heart's telling us, and we shove it down inside. I think that's bad.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people doing that every day. It's not, we're using RC, but there's a lot of people every day waking up every day that are pushing that down. You know what I mean? And maybe, I don't know, maybe you were in that place before your accident,
Yeah. Some people just don't know what there's, you don't know what something is until you actually go and do it. And you can take that prospect in life. And that was one of my thing, like on the RC thing, I wanted to show that RC is worldwide and people around the world are doing it, and they do it differently. And I think some people do it a little better in certain things, but I also understand why things are done this way here. And, I just think it's starting to achieve that goal and starting to, I just want to make it cool. And I think this is going to go towards making it cool. And
absolutely.
Yeah. When new people get in, they'd be like, all right, I listened to this, and, these guys have good ideas, and maybe I should do this. But it's great, man. I appreciate it. I would have never got to know you, and your podcast helped me out. So that's good too. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. The feeling is mutual. I'm a lifetime fan. So you guys keep doing what you're doing. That, you keep creating the content. I'm going to be around, and I can't wait to one day meet you.
Yes.
Shake your hand.
Have a medal.
And you and JQ, I didn't call him Joey Q, but you and JQ are welcome to join us and chat about whatever you want to chat about on this podcast anytime.
You need to get him on. He's an interesting character. Once he gets talking, he won't stop. That's the thing.
I'd love to hear more about his story too.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah. All right. I'll get him on her. He's gonna be in America for a little while longer, and he's in science mode right now.
Which is great. Yeah, I think that's great.
I'm probably gonna have to slap him when I get to
charge my AirPods just enough to be able to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Keenan.
Thank you for having me on.
Super fuzzy again, Audrey, but thanks for coming on and saying thank you.
Thank you, Audrey. I appreciate it. You guys keep up the good work. Keep it up. Your podcast is touching people. You just don't know it yet.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that. Hello? It means a lot. And yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Keenan. Thanks again, man, just for being the guy that you are. And I want to encourage you to do the same. Keep up the good work, man. Keep fighting the good fight. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep rolling with JQ, because I think I feel like you guys haven't even scratched the surface yet of what you guys are actually doing and creating. It's stuff which, especially like just looking at your podcasts and stuff, a lot of that stuff doesn't take off. If you look at the average, it's like 5 years, right? 4 to 5 years. It might be episode 150 that really just does it, right? You never know. And so just keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep grinding. Like I said, you got a lot of people listening every week. You got people like me that are actually waiting for that thing to come out. Just can't wait to hear it. I don't know. It's cool. Like I'm getting to hang out with you guys. It's like a place I get to visit, right? It's not just a podcast that I'm putting on and listening to. I'm visiting a place, and that place is like a happy place for me. And I think I speak for a lot of your listeners when I say that. So that's awesome. Keep it up, man. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
And
thank you.
Well, I hope you have a good rest of the week, and we'll catch up again soon, I'm sure. So Thanks again for jumping on, man.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Keenan White, ladies and gentlemen. Lefty the Great. Thanks again, Keenan, for jumping on. Thank you to all of our listeners for sticking with us through episode 3. Really appreciate it. No, we're over our hour goal mark, and that's okay, because it was really good information. I learned a lot. It was a special moment for me, a special episode for me. I'm so glad you guys got to be a part of it. Audrey, unfortunately, her headset died, and as you could hear towards the end of the episode there, her mic was just, I don't know what it was doing, but she sounded like an alien from another planet. But Audrey, thanks for being a trooper and getting back on in time to at least say thanks to Keenan. I'm sure that meant a lot to him. So appreciate you, baby sis. Appreciate all of our listeners. Thank you for just sticking with us. 3 episodes in, we got a long way to go, and we're doing it for y'all. So appreciate you guys. Thanks to Chris Phillips and Ryan McGee for giving us some really good ideas in terms of topics to discuss. So look for those in upcoming episodes. We'll be talking about the stuff you guys want us to talk about for sure. And I guess that's it. Thanks again for checking out the Stretch It Out podcast, and we'll talk to y'all next time.